So this pandemic has held a real consistent theme of feeling really alone. We aren't able to visit family as often as we'd like. We sat for months in our homes, hoping others would do the same as well. We avoided our favorite restaurants, missed weddings and graduations, and reminded ourselves we were doing this for the common good. And then we look up. We've been doing this for a year and a half. We're back in masks. We're annoyed, but we're in this together. This tragedy of the pandemic has brought us closer while being far apart. We found both a need to reset and a place of wanting our regular lives to continue. Today's passage from Acts surrounds the interconnectedness of those on Pentecost. The people who initially thought they were alone found themselves all together, filled with the Holy Spirit, and hearing things from their fellow Jews in their own language. They were listening, and they heard something familiar. They were from all over, but the Holy Spirit made them amazed and mystified. They heard those lessons in their own language. They had something that brought them together. They had the Holy Spirit. As I was doing some research for this sermon, I looked to the end of this chapter and recognized the interconnectedness of each part of this text. The theme that the author chose to discuss surrounded the use of the word fellowship. The author of Luke and Acts elaborates and uses a term that is common in Greek philosophy, indicating friendship. All things in common. Those choosing to believe in doctrine or beliefs don't just choose to believe because of that. They focus on the care of one another, everything that we have in common, caring for each one of us as a child of God. This connection and relationship is largely what we missed during the pandemic. As we tried to connect amidst a space of chaos and internet connectivity problems, we were working to worship together, but often fell off the connections we held so dearly. We paused for a reset. A place of comfort this year for me has been returning to some of my favorite movies, a place to reset from childhood and find rest. One of the Disney Channel original movies from my childhood is High School Musical. So for those of you who haven't seen it, the plot is essentially two people from two separate social groups meet, they fall in love, and the clickiness of high school disappears as they star in the fall musical. No spoilers, I apologize. It is full of cafeteria ballads, cheesy smiles, and ends with a group number in the gym entitled, "We're All in This Together," with lyrics that say, "Everyone is special in their own way. We make each other strong. We're not the same. We're different in a good way. Together's where we belong." This Disney Channel original movie may be something that I, a very millennial, think of and understand well. But I'd encourage you to think of a film or a book from your childhood with the theme of interconnectedness, the theme of being in this together. What book or film have you found comfort in amidst these trying times? We are all learning from the Holy Spirit in our own language, in our own generation. While the majority of us speak English, there are other barriers to our understanding, other barriers to our connectedness, whether that's in generational differences or differences in opinions. What's fun about the Holy Spirit is that she can pass all these barriers, like at Pentecost. She works well in all these times. There is something to individual practices of faith and prayer. I love my time of listening to hymns in the morning. But there's also an essential need for connectedness. When all heard the teachings in their own language, they found a space of community among confusion. The Pentecost moment brought many to the church and also revealed the inherent uniqueness of each of us. This uniqueness holds a space for similarity. The church, since its beginning, has shared a meal, shared a space for questions, shared a space for ritual. We get to keep what is unique about each of us when we come to the table to share the sacrament of communion. We welcome all. Within the church community, we are reminded of the Holy Spirit prompting us of her presence when we share our rituals of communal worship. The community of faith is about those people who hold rituals together, yes, but we are there for each other in broader form. It doesn't just stop at the doors of the church, but the true belief is practiced when we leave the walls of 3601 West End and go into the world. The Holy Spirit doesn't stop as we leave the stained glass windowed room, but remains wherever we go. Where 2 or 3 are gathered in God's name, the Holy Spirit is present. During this Pride weekend, we are practicing what we preach, holding a space for peace and prayer, celebration and joy amidst pride, a celebration that began as a riot years ago. This is dramatically different than what the large C Church has done for many years. The community, the ritual we so appreciate, has hurt the very people we are serving today, and it can continue to hurt. Our responsibility as a reconciling church is not only to provide a space for resiliency, but also to apologize for the injury the church has caused. We still, as a denomination, have a ways to go in inclusion. Our larger church community is missing a piece because we try to put up boundaries at the table that Christ opened for all. As Blakemore, we have decided to listen to the Holy Spirit and to have the action step of opening our doors more broadly, as you all agreed, and I agree as well, to the following statement last year. We believe that Jesus' message of unconditional love means that every human being is a child of God and is worthy of love, respect, and inclusion. We welcome everyone into the full life and ministry of our community. We celebrate people of every race, ethnicity, culture, age, sexual orientation, gender identity, family status, faith history, physical or mental ability, education, political perspective, and socioeconomic and housing circumstance. We stand against discrimination and exclusion. We worship and serve with all people through love, acceptance, and reconciliation in every part of our lives together. With the Holy Spirit's help, we can continue to open our doors wider. We can be the church through her help of welcoming everyone into the full life of the church. And we can confess the pain and hurt that we have caused. We can reset the church because we have the Holy Spirit, but we can't forget the history that brought us to where we are. We must acknowledge the pain that has been done in these mainline churches in order to grow into what we can be. And the Holy Spirit is coming with us, leading us to a more perfect grace for one another and ourselves, because we are better when we are not alone. We are all connected. We are not the same. We are different in a good way. We bring our strengths and weaknesses to the table. We bring our fear of public speaking, but strength in, operating a soundboard or a camera, or a lack of biblical knowledge, but active experience in church community, where we are grounded in prayer. This prayer binds us together, and it propels us forward. It made me feel a little bit better about referencing High School Musical and its choice of lyrics when I realized that this practice of communal living and dependency is something that the earliest communities of faith participated in. The Qumran community tied specific rituals to friendship surrounding purification to the interconnectedness of our souls. We need each other. Our relationship with one another takes time to grow, but we are in this together. So this week, what can we do to continue to open our hearts for all and to remember that we are in this together? I encourage you to be welcoming in this community, but also beyond these walls and in your everyday life. But what does this look like practically? Maybe it means talking to someone who thinks differently than you, or reading a book by an author from the LGBTQIA+ community. Whatever you choose to do, know that the Holy Spirit accompanies you along the way. We are all in this together, and we can make all our welcome more true with every step that we take. As we go into this time of communion, may we remember that this is a table for all people where the Holy Spirit works. It is a place to reset the community. It is a place to confess where we have failed. It is a place to evaluate our mortality. It is a place of abundant grace. Jesus reminds us of the importance of connectedness with a shared meal, a place for all at the table. May we believe in a world and a church that can be so.